It was 2012 and the final touches to Kid Icarus Uprising were being made, and after its completion, surfaced an image from Super Smash Bros. Creator Masahiro Sakurai, who posted it teasing the next game in the popular fighting franchise. Fans had been anticipating Sakurai's next entry in the series due to the natural excitement the series generates, and that image was the confirmation fans got that Sakurai was hard at work developing the next game. From there, speculation went wild. From what characters would get in to what stages and items would be included, if any moveset changes would happen or if tripping would return, if the game would be sped up from Brawl, if final smashes would return, if the third-party characters Snake and Sonic would come back, if any more third-party characters would be added, imaginations went through the stratosphere. It seemed like anything was possible. Skip forward to E3 on June 11th, 2013, and we saw two versions of the next Super Smash Bros. Game, 3D and HD. Their titles would be simple and straightforward. They would be called Super Smash Bros. For 3DS, Super Smash Bros. For Wii U. The plan was to have the 3DS version out in late summer and the Wii U version out in winter. This was reflected in the logos, where the top half of the image was a fire effect representing summer, whereas the bottom half resembled icicles representing winter. The image on the 3DS was orange, going with the fire effect, and the image on the Wii U was blue, going with the icicle effect. For this retrospective, I will be focusing on the Wii U version, unless I feel it necessary to mention the 3DS version. And I'll be referring to the game simply as Smash 4 for ease of explaining, instead of saying Super Smash Bros. For Wii U every single time. Nintendo showed two videos during their E3 presentation. The first gave us our first look at the game and unveiled two of its newcomers. The first new trailer revealed was Villager from the Animal Crossing series. Unexpected, but one fans were happy to see. This was a bit of a special edition because Sakurai had thought about adding Animal Crossing representation in Super Smash Bros. Brawl, but decided the Animal Crossing characters weren't suited for a fighting game. The Villager has both a male and female variant and uses various objects and tools found in the Animal Crossing games to fight opponents. After each newcomer trailer was revealed, a poster depicting the character would be viewable on the Super Smash Bros. Website, two of which were actually released officially through Club Nintendo rewards. This poster has Villager ready to use his net to grab a Smash Ball while other characters behind him try to stop him. The CG animation for the trailers were worked on by Digital Media Lab Inc. and Digital Frontier. Digital Media Lab Inc.'s works include F-Zero GX, Sonic Unleashed, and The Legend of Zelda Spirit Tracks. Digital Frontier's works includes Pokemon Heroes Movie, Summer Wars, and Wolf Children. Both being talented animation companies, it's easy to see why they were chosen. Immediately following the Villager announcement, taking place in the same trailer was one of the most anticipated characters to be brought to the series. Mega Man was undoubtedly one of the most highly requested characters to be added to Super Smash Bros. Due to his legacy as a platforming icon and his history on Nintendo consoles. And his design just made a natural fit with the Nintendo cast. Outsiders could even mistake the character as Nintendo's if they didn't know better. At this point, sadly, Mega Man had been going through a drought of content with numerous games and projects getting cancelled one after another. With Mega Man's inclusion, creative boss-inspired moveset, own original stage, excellent remix of Dr. Wily's Castle from Mega Man 2, Nintendo were showing more love to the Blue Bomber than Capcom themselves. The CG trailer is visually beautiful, with Mega Man showcasing his moves against multiple Nintendo characters in a canyon with a moonlit setting. The trailer ends with Mega Man shooting at the Yellow Devil, a tease for what would be known as stage hazards. Mega Man's poster seems pretty standard for throwing a bunch of characters together. Mega Man stands in the middle, Nintendo characters are at his sides, and the big bad Bowser is overlooking everyone. Not really much to say. Mega Man was the first third-party character to be introduced to Smash 4. After a lot of people lost their minds over Mega Man finally getting in, the next reveal was right around the corner, and it would admittedly be underwhelming. But after someone like Mega Man, it seemingly could only go downhill after that. It was almost expected. But not only was it a character no one expected, it was far from anyone's top picks. This was Wii Fit Trainer, curveball of a choice for sure. A fun trailer with Mario, Link, and Kirby doing yoga poses and the Wii Fit Trainer launching them off the screen. A fascinating character that uses real yoga poses as attacks. A fun trailer with a fun and creative concept for a character, and personally, one of my favorites. Of course, people were disappointed with this choice, but the off-the-wall characters have been in Smash Bros. Before. Though it was so off the wall after a big announcement like Mega Man, it definitely deflated some people's excitement. Like Villager and Mega Man, Wii Fit Trainer received an illustration as well. It shows a silhouette of the Wii Fit trainer doing a yoga pose in the center, with other Nintendo characters doing the same on the sides. Not only was the game shown to the public, but these 3 newcomers were announced on the same day. I won't be going over every character reveal, however, I would like to say that the next newcomer, Rosalina, wasn't announced until 6 months later. A long time for a reveal compared to the rest of the newcomers who would be revealed throughout the next year only a couple months apart from each other. A small mention goes to Sonic, a third-party character who returned to the series after his late introduction in Super Smash Bros. Brawl. At this point in the series, it was unknown if previous newcomers would appear again, since they didn't make the jump from Super Smash Bros. Melee to Super Smash Bros. Brawl. Those characters being Dr. Mario, Young Link, Pichu, Mewtwo, and Roy, all cut due to being clone characters, which are characters with the same movesets of previously existing characters. So, going from Brawl to Smash 4, any character was up in the air to get cut. That happened with Lucas, Wolf, Pokemon trainers Squirtle and Ivysaur, Ice Climbers, and the second third-party character from Brawl, Snake. Ice Climbers were an interesting case because they were meant to be included in the game, however, limitations of the 3DS hardware prevented the duo from making the cut. Fans felt at ease when Sonic received a small gameplay trailer showing his return, as well as teasing his new stage for the game. There were 51 characters in Smash 4 upon release, 12 of which were new. Charizard took his own spot, leaving Pokemon Trainer, Squirtle, and Ivysaur out of the game. Similarly, the Zelda Sheik duo and the Samus Zero Suit duo were both split into their own characters, as opposed to Zelda being able to transform or Samus changing after using her final smash. Transformations were removed outright. People were mixed on this. Nobody wanted to lose Squirtle or Ivysaur as it was now 2 less characters to play with. That was a straight negative. But some people just liked swapping back and forth between Zelda and Sheik. It made her really unique, but others would only stick with one and lament not having the extra move to take advantage of. And as for Samus and Zero Suit, they liked the change of pace the character offered when utilizing final smashes, but others didn't enjoy being forced to change to the other character, wanting to stick with one. Super Smash Bros. Has always had some good characters, but Smash 4 has had some of the most unique to be introduced, from the 2-in-1 character Rosalina and Luma, who could split up with her Luma to copy her attacks, the Little Mac with his KO meter which dealt big damage when fully charged up, Robin had their Tome which could be used to fire lightning-based projectiles for a limited time of uses like in the Fire Emblem games, to which they would go to their 11th sword. When that was used up enough times, they would again break and default to a weaker sword until they regained their Tome again, repeating the cycle. Shulk is a stance fighter who, using his Monado's power, can manipulate 5 of his attributes like his speed and power for a certain time. Smash fans weren't big fans of clones in Melee, so a majority of them were altered or cut from Brawl. Smash 4 is more lenient on the idea and brought back Dr. Mario, as well as introduced Dark Pit and Lucina. The mindset for clone characters was adjusting them just enough to make them a little different. Dr. Mario retained his down special from Melee, whereas Mario received Flood in Brawl. The Doctor was also slightly slower and more powerful. Dark Pit had a more powerful arrow which couldn't curve as opposed to Pit's arrow, which had less power and could rotate his arrows fairly freely. Dark Pit was also given the Electroshock arm, which allowed him to launch characters horizontally, while Pit received the Upper Dash arm, launching opponents vertically. Dark Pit's Electroshock arm also dealt an extra 1% damage to Pit's weapon. As for Lucina, her sword power came from its center, whereas Marth's sword power was concentrated in the tip, requiring more skill to take advantage of. Before the release of the game, Sakurai stated the game wouldn't have a story mode, unlike the previous game, Brawl. On one hand, it was nice that the development time could be used to improve the gameplay and create different modes. But on the other hand, the story mode of Brawl was such a fan service to Nintendo loyals due to all the characters interacting and banding together to take on a common enemy. It was very non-Nintendo, but much appreciated. It was a shame, but sacrifices were made. Sakurai explained why there wouldn't be a story mode for Smash 4. He would see the cutscenes to Brawl's story mode, Subspace Emissary, uploaded online and thought it defeated the purpose since cutscenes were a reward to the player for making their way through the story. He wanted people to experience the game since it would have more impact, and it makes sense that a video game story about video game characters would best be experienced in the media it was from, the video game. Since they didn't spend money on story mode, they could focus the game's budget into reveal trailers, since those being uploaded online would work towards the nature of advertising the game. Speaking of advertising, the North American tagline for the 3DS variant was "Settle It in Smash," which had different people in situations where they had come to a crossroads with one another, and to see who came out on top regarding the decision, they had to fight for it in Smash 4. I think it was a clever enough tagline and made for entertaining ads. They certainly got memed on, but it was all in good fun. And to help the hype of the Wii U game, Nintendo made new GameCube controllers and sold the GameCube adapter. There was even a bundle that included Smash 4, the controller, and adapter. On the topic of controllers, this game had seemingly every possible controller to it play under the sun. There was the Wii U gamepad, Wii U Pro Controller, Wii U Classic Controller, Wii U Classic Controller Pro, Wii Remote and Nunchuck, GameCube controller, and even the 3DS itself could be used as a standalone controller for the game. Truly incredible to an absurd degree. Since there was no story mode, there had to be some replacement, and that replacement was Smash Tour. The 3DS version received Smash Run, a game mode inspired by Kirby's Air Ride City Trial, another Sakurai game. Smash Tour was a mode where players made their way around a Mario Party style board as Mii characters collecting power-ups. Players would randomly be given 2 fighters to use, and if 2 Mii characters landed on the same spot, a fight would begin with the players using the given fighters possessing the power-ups obtained. This mode was often forgotten after a few tries, if that. I wasn't a fan of it, and I know a lot of people weren't either. Smash Run on the 3DS was much better received, with characters going through subspace emissary-like levels, beating up enemies to collect power-ups until time ran out, and then battle it out with everyone powered up. To give credit to Smash Tour, the fighting rounds were a precursor to Squad Strike in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, where different characters could be chosen to battle, but each character counted as a single stock. Smash 4 also brought to it 8-player Smash, which was exclusive to the Wii U. It's self-explanatory. 8 players can fight each other at once. Not sure how poorly it would run if it was on 3DS, if at all, but 8-player Smash Bros. Is a fun, chaotic addition to the series. The last exclusive Wii U mode was Special Orders, which consisted of Master Orders and Crazy Orders. Master Orders have players take orders or challenges using special rules like timed rounds or beat opponents with limited stonks. Easier modes would favor the player, while harder modes would favor the opponents. Rewards for completing them could be gold, music tracks, or a custom part. Crazy Orders had players take on a gauntlet of orders in a 10-minute time limit until they either completed them all or lost. Regardless, the player would fight Crazy Hand afterward, and the further the player got, the more health Crazy Hand had. Also, the more orders that were completed, the more opponents would join Crazy Hand to defeat the player, including Master Hand. After that, it's really traditional Smash Bros. Free-for-all, team battles, classic mode, all-star mode, home run contest, multi-man mode, and training mode. Trophy Rush is the replacement to Brawl's coin launcher, and Target Blast is a bad break the targets. In the original Super Smash Bros., commonly referred to as Smash 64, and Melee, break the targets used to be geared towards using all the knowledge the player had about a character and using them to complete the challenge of destroying all the targets. They were crafted for each fighter and were fun challenges, acting as puzzle rooms that indirectly taught players how to utilize that specific character's attacks and movement. Brawl stripped that away and had 5 generic target rooms. I get that with more characters, it would take a lot of time and effort to make a target room for all 35 characters, but the Brawl rooms lacked any and all of the personality and purpose of the ones from Smash 64 and Melee. I beat all the target rooms in Smash 64 and Melee because I wanted to complete the challenge with each character. They were fun and rewarding. I remember playing my first Target Smash stage in Brawl with Charizard. I stopped partway through and never tried it again because I didn't like it. It wasn't the same. It wasn't made with the same care the previous ones had. Smash 4? Complete waste of time. At least Brawl had target rooms. Target Blast is basically home run contest with a bomb. Blow up as many targets with explosions as possible. I have to make the comparison because it's so blatant, but this was the most obvious Angry Birds clone. They didn't even try anything original for this. It was such a disappointment. I would have taken Brawl's Target Smash over this any day. Smash 4 brought with it character customization, which was a neat gimmick. Characters collected items that would unlock certain customizable parts for characters to use. Some parts would allow for longer range projectiles, higher jumps, stronger throws or attacks, etc. Naturally, some players benefited more than others. It was fun to mess around with, but collecting parts could be tedious due to the random nature in obtaining parts, especially when it came to duplicates. Nintendo made Amiibo, little NFC-enabled figurines of their characters who could be trained up in both versions of Smash 4 to a higher level and fought against. While fun, most people bought them to have official figures of the numerous Nintendo characters that appeared in Smash 4. Super Smash Bros. Had some really creative stages, and that held true for this entry as well. There were 46 stages upon release. It's worth noting that the 3DS version had stages that leaned more towards handheld games, where the Wii U had mostly home console stages. Smash 4 introduced Omega stages, which made every stage play like Final Destination, keeping the background elements and music from the original stages that they were based on. There was a solid selection here, from the Smash Bros. Staples of Battlefield and Final Destination, to new ones including Mario Galaxy, Gower Plain, Palutena's Temple, Kalos Pokemon League, and Woolly World. Mario Galaxy had a curved stage which was a planet from Super Mario Galaxy, replicating the gravity gimmick the game had, where the closer the player was to the ground, the more their projectiles would be affected by the gravity. It displayed a beautiful view of space, with Starship Mario in the background. Gower Plain had 2 large platforms that sat centered on the screen with smaller platforms below. In the background, the Mechonis was visible, and Metalface, a stage hazard, would appear and attack players. Palutena's Temple was Smash 4's Temple from Melee, but on a bigger scale with different areas to them. This stage was huge and very chaotic with 8-player Smash. Kalos Pokemon League took place in the Pokemon X and Y's Pokemon League building, and it would rotate between different types of Pokemon the Elite Four used, those being Steel types, Fire types, Water types, and Dragon types, with each type using an attack or hazard to interrupt the match. Woolly World was notable as being the only stage to have been playable before the game it was inspired from, Yoshi's Woolly World, was released. It really stood out with its beautifully rendered yarn aesthetic. My favorite stages were Pyrosphere, Gamer, and Orbital Gate Assault. While on the topic of stages, and having mentioned Palutena's Temple, I have to talk about Palutena's Guidance. In Brawl, Snake could use his taunt and activate his Codex. He would speak with characters from the Metal Gear series about a character he was currently fighting, commenting on their abilities or how they looked. It was a fun idea and delved deeper into the crossover and fan service aspect of the series. But since Snake wasn't in Smash 4, nor was his stage, his Codex didn't happen. As mentioned before, the game Sakurai finished before Smash 4 was Kid Icarus Uprising. Kid Icarus Uprising has characters constantly talk about each other and breaking the fourth wall, if there even was one to begin with. So Sakurai took the opportunity and implemented it in Smash 4, making it the ideal replacement.
Oh look! There's Metroid!
That's not a Metroid! That's Samus!
Just like Link isn't named Zelda.
And like Pit's name isn't Icarus.
Okay, this joke has officially run its course.
That's Robin, also known as the Avatar.
I wonder where Chrom is.
Who knows? Probably taking a nap at home.
Certainly more useful than a simple swordsman like myself.
Plus, you and Ike are too similar. No point in having 2 characters that are pretty much carbon copies, am I right?
Excuse me? For Robin's final smash, I plan on lending a hand. And then you'll taste the bitterness of defeat.
We know you're trying to play the hero and all, but you can only join in if Robin gets the Smash Ball, right?
You'll taste the bitterness of defeat. Right after Robin gets the Smash Ball.
What's PSI?
It's a general term for supernatural abilities.
Supernatural? Isn't that pretty unscientific?
Said the angel to the goddess.
What are you getting at?
Pit, we're having this conversation via telepathy. Meanwhile, the power of flight is a type of psychokinesis, and I see you from the heavens using clairvoyance. Finally, I call you back from the battlefield with something akin to teleportation.
And believe me, I truly appreciate all that stuff you do with things.
Smash 4 also had a stage builder mode like Brawl. This stage builder was not available on 3DS. This was admittedly pretty limited. Spent a lot more time making stages in Brawl than I ever did in Smash 4. The draw to this one was being able to use the Wii U gamepad to draw the stage instead of focusing on parts to choose from. Parts were still available to be chosen, but the selection was a lot less than the mode in Brawl. Super Smash Bros. Is famous for its all-star soundtracks, creative original themes, and excellent remixes. And after multiple games, there have even been numerous remixes of the same songs, which are always excellent regardless of how many there are. Remixes from the Super Mario series, to the Metroid series, to the Fire Emblem series, to the Xenoblade series, to the Pokemon series, and more, all in Smash 4. All of Nintendo's mainstays, as well as their smaller franchises, were added and appreciated. It's really hard to beat a soundtrack stacked as this one, with some of gaming's most iconic sounds and music. Some of my favorites in Smash 4 are the main theme, Duck Hunt medley, Wily Castle, Escape. Star Wolf's theme, Sector Z. Menu Melee version 2. Destroyed Sky World. And my favorite song from Smash 4, Classic All-Star Final Results. Online returned from Brawl, and it was improved. It was far from perfect, but much better than Brawl's ever was. Players could play with friends or random people online. They could also enter a tournament mode, which Nintendo themselves occasionally hosted. They could bet on a match of other players with gold and spectate their battles, earning more gold if their chosen player won, and they could share screenshots or replays they created. The main modes for fighting online were For Fun and For Glory. Again, people memed on the naming convention, but it was a nice step in the right direction. For Fun dealt with typical Smash Bros. Chaos of anything goes with all stages and items playable, and couple that with spotty online connectivity made for sheer chaos. For Glory disabled items, and only Final Destination or Omega stages could be chosen. DLC was added for the first time to Super Smash Bros., something fans had only dreamed of since the concept existed. Before the game launched, it was announced in a video presentation that Mewtwo would be making his way to Smash 4. Following the release of the game, 6 more characters were revealed and released. They were Lucas, Roy, Ryu, Cloud, Corrin, and Bayonetta. Mewtwo and Roy were Melee reps who got their HD debut and were nice to see back, especially Roy with a modernized redesign. It was also fun to see Melee characters get final smashes. People missed Lucas from Brawl, and felt Smash 4 backpedaled a bit keeping Ness but not Lucas, and like Mewtwo and Roy, got his HD debut. Ryu was the first third-party DLC character, so he meant the floodgates were open and anything was possible. That alone was a big deal, but also because he was already a fighting game character coming into a Nintendo fighting game. Nintendo had a good relationship with Capcom, and with Mega Man already in the game, Ryu almost seemed inevitable. Ryu came with the Suzaku Castle stage. Regarding Smash Bros., Cloud from Final Fantasy was a character that would only be discussed in dream scenarios or have in fan games, so when it came to his reveal in Super Smash Bros., people lost their minds. Nintendo and Square Enix have had a rocky history, so people didn't really expect Cloud to get into the crossover series. But it happened. People's pie-in-the-sky dreams were made real, and another third-party character was added. Cloud came with the Midgar stage. Corrin was an interesting case. Yes, they were another Fire Emblem character, but not only did they not have blue hair, they were part dragon. so they could attack with their dragon limbs and tail. And like Roy and Melee being in Smash Bros. Before his debut game, Corrin was also released in Smash 4 before Fire Emblem Fates released, except for in Japan. Bayonetta is another character people didn't think would get in, not because of company history, but of her suggestive design and provocative nature. Sakurai got a workaround going, and at the end of the day, made it happen. Bayonetta came with the Umbral Clock Tower stage. On February 3rd, 2016, Corrin and Bayonetta were both released, and with it came the final content added to the game, marking the end of Super Smash Bros. For Wii U and 3DS. So, where is Super Smash Bros. For Wii U and 3DS 10 years later? While people still play the game, the sequel, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, released a little over 2.5 years later, on December 7th, 2018. When Super Smash Bros. Ultimate released, it basically killed interest in Smash 4. To further drive the nail into the coffin, the online support for the Nintendo 3DS and Wii U ended April 8th, 2024, making online play for both Smash 4 games no longer available. Everyone's moved on to Ultimate. Smash 4 is the one Smash game that lacks identity now because Ultimate just took it and made it better. It improved movement, animations, modes, effects, characters, stages, among numerous other changes, and the Switch's portability. Smash 4 fans mostly just take advantage of the hacking scene and mod the games with characters, music, and stages. Many would say there's no point in returning to Smash 4 when Smash Ultimate exists, but some have a soft spot for the hype that Smash 4 brought. The first titles where we got Mega Man, Pac-Man, Ryu, and Cloud all in one game, a Nintendo one at that. The reveal trailers introduced with Smash 4 brought unrivaled hype to the franchise, with fans reacting to them, scrambling to forums to gush about their favorite characters getting in the Super Smash Bros. Franchise. And I think that's what's important. Not that people just moved on to the next big thing and ignore Smash 4, but that we can take a step back and reminisce on the fun and exciting times that led up to the games and the joy they brought when we played them. Thank you for watching.